Do you watch the news?
Not anymore.
I saw on the news the other day that Interstate 95 in Philadelphia shut down and collapsed. Did you see that?
I did not.
You haven't heard about this?
No.
You know, it's 5 lanes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a 5.
No, I didn't.
It's a 5-lane road from New York, connecting New York and Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And all 5 lanes collapsed.
Wow.
Like, bridge is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking about it because it was like, I was thinking like, some boss out there, some business owner got this phone call and it said, "Hey, Landon, I was driving the truck too fast on the exit ramp and it tipped over and it caught on fire and the whole bridge fell down." Hey, I'm Tim C.
Hey, I'm Landon Blank.
You're listening to Hacking Concrete. Can you imagine, like,
Lawyer up.
I just don't know what the phone call would be. What do you say?
I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I know what we've done with
You
things
really
in the
hadn't heard
past.
that project?
I mean, I know what we've done in similar things.
No, I wouldn't say similar things to that. Here, look at this picture. I'll put the picture right here. Look.
Oh my gosh! And a truck caused that.
He tipped the truck over and it caught on fire and the heat made it weak and it collapsed.
You know, it's yesterday, yesterday, I got a phone call from a job site and they were like, "Hey, we got a problem." And honestly, stuff like that goes through my head. Like, what do you mean we got a problem right away?
Could be anything.
It was only that, hey, we can't work today. They won't let us on the site.
It
wasn't a burning bridge.
It wasn't. We knocked down Interstate 95, the biggest road in America.
So we did.
Not just one lane, the whole thing. It's an impressive feat.
Well, so we did have a couple weeks ago. We had a situation where I know what I did then. You want? I mean, should we?
Yeah, we should. I think we should. Yeah, we can tell that story.
So we had someone with us on our team that was not supposed to be driving at all, just because of just certain circumstances. Wasn't supposed to be driving. He comes late one night, grabs one of the vehicles, and doesn't show up for work the next morning. Nobody knows what to do. And a van's missing. So this had happened at night. Mm-hmm. The van was flipped on the expressway.
Yep. That's not how we felt. I think we got a call from. We never did get in touch with the employee.
No, they called it. The other guys called me. He's like, "We don't have a van, and so and so is not showing up." And I was like, "Oh no!"
That conversation started with, "We got a problem."
We got a problem. So I call. There's only like one record service in town that like works for the cops a lot. So all I'm thinking to do was I called them and they're like, "Oh yeah, so-and-so. Yeah, that van was totaled last night." That's the first news that I knew was going on. That van was totaled last night. I was like, "Oh my gosh." So immediately I start calling lawyers. I did all this before calling you. Cause remember I was out of town. So I was trying to call lawyers. I was trying to call everyone I could to try to figure out, get the whole lowdown. I was called multiple police stations. I couldn't find out even what county the van was in. Did he hit somebody? Do we have to, are we accountable for something?
Yeah. It wasn't even a work project. He just borrowed a van.
Right. But it's a work van in the company's name. Mm-hmm. If he hurts someone, is that coming back on us?
I don't know. I know that you did all that and I think you were dreading calling me. So you tried to find all that info out before you called.
I did. It had been a long time, like an hour or two that I was trying to figure all this out.
Yeah. Yep. And then I don't know how it resolved.
Oh yeah, you do. You just said it.
I'm just trying to think of how it played out. So you went from that to, we didn't know where the employee was.
Right. We found out.
We didn't know, like we call the hospital and they don't have him there.
Right.
Call jail. We don't have him there.
Right.
We didn't know what happened to him.
We didn't know. So, didn't know the story. It was
Did he
terrible.
die? Did he die? And I mean, the honest thought was that he must have gotten killed and the hospital is not telling us until they tell his family. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's fine.
So I let you know. We call our insurance. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah. So I called our insurance agent. And I mean, he basically said that the van didn't have enough value. It wasn't worth making a claim because it was, by the time we made a claim and our rates went up, he's like, it wasn't a very nice van. It was our crappiest van.
Yeah.
So basically we went from on Friday night, we went from a van for a crew that ran a crew of people out of it to Saturday morning, down one employee, and the van is at the junkyard, and I sold it for $600.
What a change of events.
And you were out of town. I couldn't even ask you, it was your van. I didn't know what to do with it. And so we just, what a turn of events. We just move on.
Which pales in comparison to the bridge incident.
It does.
But it goes to say, it's just, we don't know what the next thing is going to be. And at some point you have to, that is where it's so much trust involved. And that's why we work so hard on getting the right team, because you have to trust.
Yeah.
We got to rely on each other.
You got a call from that employee the next, couple of days later. You remember what he said to you? Landon, you know that van needed new tires.
Oh boy.
How dare you?
Well, you had two stories.
Oh yeah. I got another story for you too that Rodney told me about when he worked in Charlotte for this decking company. He said that one of the guys that helped him was late one day, and he walked up to work and said, "I'm sorry, I'm late. I left my tailgate open, and I dropped a whole box of roofing nails off on the interstate." Fell out of his truck on the interstate. And then Rodney said he turned on the radio because they listen to talk radio. They listen to talk radio at work. He turned on the radio, and it said on the radio that Interstate 77 was shut down because there was a bunch of accidents from nails being on the radio.
The whole interstate.
So it's 2 interstate shutdowns.
We have one time where we were rolling out of town one morning, and James Moretz, if he's listening, James will know that this is about him. He's pulling the trailer. We get across the bridge downtown. The side door of the trailer opens up. The vacuum was completely full, and that's the first thing that went out. So as he looks in the rearview mirror, it's nothing but a dust cloud. Like you can't see.
You lost it on the road?
Yeah. It was rolling, and it rolled in between cars up onto the sidewalk, and meanwhile it was 200 pounds of silica that no one could get through.
Did the vac survive?
Yes, we used it. We kept using it.
Is that loud vac?
Yes, that's loud vac.
We have a vacuum called loud vac because it is piercingly loud for some reason.
Maybe that's why.
Man, the concrete dust is enough to drive anyone crazy. Troy put some. We have a dumpster right out there, and it's just so. All right, so your vacuums use this bag system where stuff goes straight into the bag and you throw it away. Mm-hmm. Well, the one we use doesn't do that. It's just got a tank and you got to dump it out. The guys hate dumping it into bags. So they bring it back to the shop and they dump it inside the door in the dumpster. And the other day when the guy came to dump the dumpster, it was like an atomic bomb went off out there of dust floating through the parking lot.
You have a picture for that too.
I do. I had a video right here. And the guy backed up and he just sat there because he was like, "Is my truck on fire?"
do I jump tuck and roll? Is he calling them? You're not gonna believe what happened.
So it happens all the time. Our truck, the guy that empties our dumpster, he calls the dumpster rep that I have and says, "Hey, they got to stop doing this." So this time it was they got to stop putting dust in the dumpster. That's ridiculous. Then the time before that was some of the other guys put an entire concrete patio jackyard and filled the dumpster up, and the truck pulled up to it and tried to lift it and couldn't lift it off the ground.
When a dump truck's back wheels come off the ground because it can't lift up an entire patio.
It's like the whole thing was shaking.
And this dumpster is like the smallest one we can get to. It's not like this big dumpster.
Yeah, I don't know what day that happened. I don't have a video of that. I wish I did.
But it's funny because it's like we tell all these stories, but yet we cannot do this without
they're
team
awesome.
members.
They're all incredible.
We cannot do it.
No.
And so we run this balance, this line of just trusting each other. And it's they trust. I'm going to go ahead and put in this work and trust that I'll get paid. They do, and they work hard and do all that stuff. But we have some insane stories.
We have some of the greatest people right now.
Yeah.
So none of these are complaints. We have no complaints anymore. But they're fun to be around because I don't know. All of our guys have been around for so long that we know them so well now, and so whenever anything happens, it's almost funny when stuff happens because it's like we know I can envision the situation to where it got to that point. That's right. So today we're doing a second coat on a garage floor, and And so we don't usually do 2 top coats on a flake floor. And the second coat, I actually sat up last night and I started to text them and say, hey, don't mix with 3 gallons because it's going to go forever because there's a big garage.
Yeah.
Well, they got there and they said, well, it took 9 gallons yesterday. Let's just do 4.5 today. And they did it, and it didn't take even half of it. So they called me all nervous that I was going to be mad. And I immediately was like, no, I knew that was my fault. I knew that was coming. I meant to tell you, and I just didn't because I'm stupid. I was obsessing over whether to tell them to mix 3 or 3.75. Dumb. I should just told them.
That's right. Just take it.
And anyways, it was funny though because like now I'm envisioning my crew, and I know how funny they are about fumes in the van. And here they are driving home 2 hours with 2 gallons of polyspartic in the van. I know they're wearing respirators going on the road in the van.
It's setting off right now.
Because you can't throw it away on the job site because it's
right.
Anyways, it's funny. It's fun to stuff we go through is funny. They go through a lot of stuff.
You remember that time we purchased a business years ago, and another polishing business. They weren't really the type of people that we would bring onto a team normally.
We purchased equipment that came with a couple of employees.
Yeah.
Is really what we did.
Pretty much. Yeah. And so we were out of town again. Someone didn't show up for the job. And I'm like, man, what's up? What's going on? What's the problem? He's like, oh, his eye. Something happened to his eye. I was like, what happened to his eye last night?
Yeah. You worked till like 10. Yeah. Well, and it's 8 o'clock the next morning. What could have happened? In that time period,
they had all gone out. They decided that they thought while they were walking down the street that police officers were coming. I don't know what was going on. So we shouldn't even say this. Anyway, it involved dodging into a bush, and when he dodged into the bush, he sent a twig through his eye.
Yeah,
where he was out for 3 days.
Get a thorn.
What do you do?
How do you get a thorn? You work really late. You eat supper. And everyone goes to the hotel room, and they're going to be back at work next morning early. How do you get a thorn in your eye in that little period of time? It's like the most impossible situation.
And I would say just to tag onto this a little bit. So our friend owns a large HVAC company, right?
Yeah,
an electrical HVAC and plumbing. Well, right now in our current community college, there are tons of guys right now learning those trades.
I know it's so crazy to me that they teach them how to do stuff in school,
right?
And they come to work knowing how to do it.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, so they come to work knowing how to do it. Meanwhile, there's no concrete finishing classes, no polishing, no epoxy classes. There are people. We have the seminars, which typically half of those are based on salesmen trying to sell product.
Yeah,
and how many of those do you go to that we didn't?
I mean, we joke, yeah.
I don't want to beat up on people that are doing it, but because there are great ones out there. But man,
there are, but usually it's like you're doing a sample the size of this table.
Yeah, and that sample's already been done 15 times under it.
Yeah, that's right.
We can get to full aggregate really quick with these diamonds. Well, you've grounded 100 times for these classes.
Of course.
So
yeah. There's no. I guess I should pitch my course here, decorativeconcreteschool.com.
Now that course is different. That is like A to Z.
Learn everything you need to know.
A.1 through Z.1.
Yeah. No. Yeah, but the in-person stuff though, like even if we sent our employees to the in-person stuff, it's just like so brief. You can't learn.
Right.
You have to somehow have like a photographic memory because you're going through it so fast. You can't go back and rewatch it or anything. It's just one and done, and you're sent off into the world to go and start a business.
Right.
I mean, that's how our business was.
Yeah. And so it's like such a challenge. Because for one, I think we struggle with presenting to new employees I try so hard. It's like, hey, there are so many things going on here. You've got great opportunity you don't even know about.
Yeah.
You don't know about. I mean, there's a lot of side things that we do, a lot.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it in this area, hey, you could grow in another area.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about training up the right people, it is tough.
It is really hard. It's impossible to find. It's not impossible. It's really hard.
Yeah. But these dudes school right into it. Boom. Yep. You're an electrician. Here we go. Here's your spot.
Yeah.
Now they might not fit with the company, but at least they.
Yeah. A friend of mine hired a recruiting agency to help him find employees, and he spent in the neighborhood of like $3,000 or $4,000 on it, right? And he got 3 prospects, and he was interviewing 2 of them and got about halfway through the interview. And he was like, wait a minute. You do realize I'm in Minnesota, right? Where are you? And they're like, I'm in Florida. So the recruiting company didn't even get him, but one person from where he is. And then, then that one person that he hired, I remember when he called me, he was like so psyched to that guy. He's like, this guy's great. I hired this recruiting company. It's totally worth $3,000 because I got this one awesome guy, right?
Yeah.
He comes to work for 2 weeks. Payday happens. But the day before payday happens, he calls and says, hey, did you run payroll yet? And it was kind of acting funny. And my friend was like, that's kind of weird the way he approached that. He's like, no, it's tomorrow. You'll get paid tomorrow. And he's like, okay, great. I'll see you next week. See you Monday. Well, Monday comes around. The guy doesn't show up. Won't answer the phone. Nothing. Just disappeared. And this is a guy, just a minute ago, he was like, I think this guy could run a new crew. And now he's like disappeared. Won't answer the phone. Tuesday, same thing. Wednesday, same thing. Finally, later on in the week, he gets a letter from like the employment commission, and they're like, hey, we need you to withhold this money from this guy's check because he owes money for this whatever situation. And that's why I quit though. He knew that he could work that long and get paid before anyone would catch him find out that they need to withhold money. Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Man.
But the guy he just blew it though. He had so much opportunity because this particular company, we were talking about him at lunch. He's going to be a big company. Like he really had an opportunity to have a really good job, and it's just gone.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's nobody teaching. You can't go get new people though at the community college.
Yeah, yeah.
Just kind of a bummer.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's 300 leads in the box just hanging out, trying to get back to. And it's like, what are we doing?
How did you get 300 leads?
Through Danny. And he's going to give us a tip. Here he is.
A lesson I've learned is that as the CEO, visionary leader of a company, there are 2 key roles that must be fulfilled. Number 1 role is to create the culture and the environment that attracts great employees. It's my role. I take full ownership. I cannot land great employees. Guess what? I have full ownership of that, and it's my job, my duty, my obligation to build a culture to attract better employees. On the other hand, it is my job to create value-driven solutions that attract great clients that my employees would love to serve. You see, if any one of this is lacking at any point in time, you will lack freedom, time, and profits. I guarantee it.
But we are appreciative though for that. I mean, 300 leads in a month is crazy.
It is. And we could use feedback as far as what's the best way to retain. What have you guys done? What's the thing that, other than the atmosphere, which I think we provide that good?
Yeah. I think our atmosphere is good because I can't remember if we said this earlier, but all of our employees have been with us for a really long time. We don't have hardly any that are like brand new. So, I mean, that's the hard part, I think.
I mean,
finding people that are going to stay for more than a couple of weeks.
Concrete's hard. Epoxy sticky.
Yeah. That could be the end, right?
Yeah.